in your acceptance
Good morning, Tyler.
of Christ, right? Meaning that you're going to stop doing evil things. You're going to stop cursing your children. You're going to start fornicating. You're going to stop masturbating. You're going to stop committing adultery. You're going to stop.
So what's evil in people's perception is masturbating is evil. So that's why you need to start, what's that, fornicating?
Uh, Evil things. You're going to stop cursing your children. You're going to start fornicating.
All right, so stop cursing your children. I understand. Start fornicating.
Going to stop masturbating.
Stop masturbating. And then let's see if I can find a title here. Prophecy, abortion, sacrifice. All right, keep that in mind. Abortion, sacrifice. There's a sacrifice going on. It's abortion is the topic being talked about.
There's no stuff that comes out the end of your and that it's actually to go watch like your last vile video of masturbation. You don't get it. You don't get why you ain't supposed to do it. And that it's actually better for a man to go lay with a woman, spill his seed in a whore, than it is for him to spill his seed on the ground.
So according to Tyler and John, you're not, and it's not the only one, but their judgment of evil things, they're trying to instill these thoughts of this is what's evil in the world. Which is their opinion, but is it really their opinion? Or do they really know what truly is evil and what isn't, but pervert the words of Christ? It sounds like perversion to me. It sounds like, well, if somebody is claiming they have the Holy Spirit, which is what the problem is with the whole world, is they're using the Lord's name in vain. They're literally taking it, perverting it, twisting it, justifying it, telling you it's better to go F a whore than to just take care of yourself. So there's, as John's saying, there's like a million seeds that only one of them makes it, and it's life. It's the spark of life. It's better to go F a whore than to just take care of yourself in private, even though you're never in private, because the same people telling you not to touch it are the ones surveilling you. The same ones telling you it's evil to touch your own tree of life are the same ones that are surveilling you as you touch your tree of life, and they're concealing theirs and getting off in the nympho stage, maniac stage. The Philadelphia landscape, now that I start to rethink how this thing is, it's a male and female system, but it's a male from the outside. And the reason why the inside becomes a female, because on the outside, you either have your boys are tucked away on the inside, or all three are tucked away on the inside. And it's a concealed, there's nothing, like nobody can, if you don't know what's going on behind the curtain, if you didn't go into the Wizard of Oz, and see what's behind the actual curtain itself, it's a male and female system. The female rival being talked about taking over is a man that has that thing done. Now, I don't know if absolute for certain that the Nephilims, the race, are people that are born that way, which is fully male, fully female, because on the inside you're able to pleasure yourself in secret. That's all that is. That's all that is. Everything on the outside that you would do normally as a man to take care of yourself is the same thing that goes on in the inside, but hands-free. But not only that, whether people are born into the system or not, I don't know, but there definitely is a surgery. There's definitely an option of a surgery, which is to take everything and just move it straight up. Turn it upside down. Not pulling it up. Because pulling it up, well, that would be the one option as a complete female, is getting rid of everything, cutting out the heart of your own cake and eating it and doing that thing. And then becoming an actual complete woman that only receives. You no longer have the spark of life, because Paul is on the road to Damascus to kill Christians. Paul is killing Christians by teaching them that this is the thing that you need to do in order to get up to heaven, is to get turned upside down, get rid of your spark of life, or become a full woman, or conceal it, pretend that you got rid of it, but yet as you're walking around day in and day out. That's why there's a saying that says, go F yourself. So Satan said, all right, fine. Do you think Satan doesn't have the spark of life within his own temple? You think his boys, you think the two witnesses aren't inside of his temple? Saul was on the road to Damascus, and when you're killing Christians, you're killing their spark of life. This is why Christ said, hey, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And it took for him to be on the road to Damascus. That's why Paul, isn't he the chief speaker? That's why Paul is the one in the end that has a testimony. Because you can try to conceal everything, your whole entire body system, but you can't, because it's exposed. You can try to prevent the truth from being talked about, but if you really wanted to do that, you would have shut my channel up a long ass time ago, because you're hearing things that might get revealed to other people that are in the government that might start to think, and then you start to hear chatter, and then you start to see things, you start to experience, we need to shut his channel up. But you can also say the ones that aren't from the inside, you're not even saying anything, they don't even know who you are. But I know better and they know better, and that's what it's about, is talking to them directly. So Saul, that's why Saul was a murderer. He wasn't literally going around chopping Christians' heads off and killing them. No, it's a spiritual kill, because you're also taking that, your spirit is dying, it's being murdered, And at the same time, you're murdering your spark of life that you got naturally by God. The vision fails. The vision trying to turn the Bible into Satan's way, it doesn't work. Satan, the kingdom is divided. It's divided now. You have two witnesses in this world, two of them, that have, well, let's look at it like this. Who would be the two witnesses? Who would, what, like, where would these two witnesses come from? If you really want to think about it, who's gonna testify to the truth on this planet? And how can you possibly do that unless you're not two people from the inside at the highest part in the ability to surveil globally, the entire globe? You would have to be able to witness everybody at any given point in time throughout the entire globe. And you have access to do that. That would be the two witnesses on this planet. And when they both stand up, because they're going to get power, they're going to be given power to, well, fire's going to proceed out of their mouth. They're going to devour their enemies. Because after 3.5 days, the breath of life enters back into them. September 23rd, 2017, 3.5 years later. After 3.5 years of being dead in the street, because that's what it is, Christ was crucified. He was crucified, the Spirit, back in 2017, publicly, because there was some kind of rulership that was in place at that time, and no breath of life. But shortly after, like probably September, October, November, it's looking like the very next month. It could have even been in September itself. But the very next month, going into November, especially November, the two witnesses had already recognized where the truth is coming from. Back in September, or back in 2017. Even though somebody else was already picked, it's not just one person that makes a decision. People vote on stuff. And after 3.5 days, there's a reconsideration. Even though Saul is still on his road to killing Christians. But it's the two witnesses' job to just testify to the truth. That's all it takes. And then, the dragon's wroth with the woman, but the woman has a place prepared for 1,260 days. And who's the woman? Well, I heard the woman from being Christ to Christ's seed to the witnesses. No matter what, 1,260 days, even from the time that they were given power to act for 42 months, and the time is up, because the time's up. 3/2/1/2021, and then 2 days later, because it's like a 2-day revival or something, they get 42 months to act, the same amount of time that the two witnesses are dead in the street. But it takes 3.5 years. At the very end, two witnesses are going to stand up with the breath of life that enters into them, and they stand upon their feet, and great fear falls upon them which saw them. Great fear falls upon them which saw them. That's how it changes. And that's the only way it can change. Other than that, if those two witnesses keep their mouth shut, and even though they see the truth, they know the truth, they understand it, that things are being fulfilled, if they don't say anything, there is no Saul, Saul, why thou persecutest me. There's just straight Saul continuing, killing Christians, and eventually the whole entire world becomes a fully 100% evil. There's no way of anybody doing anything other than just getting slaughtered. Literally. This is all about the spark of life. The entire thing. It's all about that. And what are you doing with it? You have it on the outside. You need... Look, you can keep it. I just don't want to see it. Out of sight, out of mind. If it's out of sight, I'll put down the axe. I'll put down the sledgehammer. I'll unkindle the fire. We won't be roasting nuts over an open fire. And we won't be smashing Peters, turning it into a pan. But if you conceal it, all right, well, that's good. I mean, look, if you want to keep it, conceal it. If you don't, oh boy, here comes the threats. Here comes all the threats. There's a sacrifice, abortion sacrifice. Thou shalt not touch it. You don't understand why you're not supposed to masturbate, Robin. Because, okay, well, to each his own. You have your, this is your body, right? Are you not born with this and you have to live in it until you die? But yet you're going to have somebody else tell you what you can and cannot do with your own body. Do you get tattoos? Well, you like tattoos? All right, well, some of them look pretty cool. It's your choice, right? Tattoo it up. I mean, you can tattoo your entire head and face and your neck and everything. It's your prerogative. It's your body. It's your temple. You are the one that lives with it. You want to cut off one of your members because it caused you to sin, and it's better for you to go into heaven with a one less member? All right, well, you want to take the bear's arm and take it around and take the bear's arm around your neck while you're hugging it? You want to chop it off? So they'll tell you it's better for you to F a whore than to keep your seed to yourself. Some will say, no, I keep my seed to myself. They're not lying. Even though they're a nymphomaniac and that's all they do all day long is ejaculate. But they're keeping their seed to themselves. Because aren't they isn't it come out of her, my people, as you stand up? From what I'm getting from Steve Fletcher is obviously not that he's actually doing it, it's just an agent pretending that he is, or maybe he is. But as he just is sitting there talking to you, he's pleasuring himself, but hands free, because it's a mechanism. Isn't this what AI mixed with AI is? I don't know how it's done, but it's quite, I'll tell you, the doctors, it's amazing stuff you can do with people's body parts, rearranging them and still having them function. And then using AI as the technology also. Because here's what happens. When they seek death and they cannot find it, that 5-month period, and once they're finally convicted of what they did, like right now it's like right now, that when you're in that spirit, when that spirit is dominating you and it runs your life, and you have that, it's a delusion that has been strongly sent upon you. When that demon gets cast out of you, And then realization settles in, like, wait a minute, what the fuck did I do? As the true Holy Spirit, not the fake one, that when the true Holy Spirit takes control of you because you allow it to, because you went from one side to the other, and things start settling in as to what's right and what's wrong, what's morally right and morally wrong, that's one of the reasons why men will seek death and not find it. They're going to want to die. Like, God, what? Wow. You got to forgive yourself for doing it, number one. Because God forgives you anyway. Even if you're not asking for it, because God already knows the beginning to the end, that it's only a matter of time until you just get tired of it. And you just want to ask for forgiveness. But here's the hypocrisy of all of it. You'll see men's faces on the television set through this YouTube device. They're going to be telling you that they're talking to regular people. They're going to be telling you, do not touch your tree of life. Keep your seed to yourself. It's evil to even play with it. Matter of fact, cut it off. It's better to go into heaven without a member than to go in with a member that causes you to sin and get thrown into the lake of fire. So just get rid of it. Like, take it off. Even though that's exactly the exact opposite of what you should do, because you are literally born with it, and that's God's purpose, is for you to regenerate the spark of life. They'll tell you not to touch it. It's wrong. It's evil. Keep your seed to yourself. But yet they don't keep their seed to themselves, although they do, because they're just effing themselves. But you can only do that by agreeing to the host body system and having that surgical operation done to you. Or they're telling you to get the surgical operation done, and it's not something that actually does happen. They just get rid of it and tell you, yeah, we're just hold on. Well, you got to wait a couple years and it'll happen. And in the meanwhile, that would be the part of the Nephilim race that was born like that. And then they're trying to tell you to go ahead and do it, but yet you can't. And you get, the whole thing is, once you've already done that and the Holy Spirit truly does take over, you're going to wish that you were dead. And that's the real part about this, is people are going to have to go through this. They were told about it. They were warned about it. They didn't believe it. Then it comes to pass. It happens. And then you have to deal with your emotions. So they'll tell you not to do that, but yet they're doing it themselves in secret. And on top of that, they'll consider that abortion, because that's what it is. You're aborting your children, right? It's better for you to put it into a whore, that way she can get pregnant. Have the kid at the very end, and then get the abortion at the end, while the child is fully grown, because they'll act like they care about the spirit, the spark of life. Oh yeah, we care about the spark. It's better for you to F a whore so we can have a children later on, and let them abort it, and then we have a full-blown baby that we can, opposed to the unbirthed children that if you just, it goes down the drain. Well, it's the way it is. Why was I filled up with this stuff in the first place? Well, it's for reproducing and for your own good pleasure. Why did God create people mentally? That's his own good pleasure. So he's going to create you with something that you can have some pleasure with. Don't touch it. They act like they care about the spirit of a child unbirthed, because you are ignorantly, rudely playing with yourself and trying to have some enjoyment in this life, and You're disposing of your seed when it's better for you. Why? The Holy Spirit tells me that it's better for you to go F a whore. That way, that whore can have the baby, and then either abort it at the end, or that way it's fully grown. It has organs and all. Satan likes to eat children in all ways, shapes, and forms, either from the beginning of the spark itself, or at the very end when it's fully grown, and then feast. You don't give a damn about the spirit at all. All you care about is eating. That's the hypocrisy of this whole entire thing. In secret, trying to get regular people, because it is something, it's definitely a topic that nobody discusses, but when you do, it's like, well, you can't do this and you can't do that. And then it's something that weighs on your mind, because in all honesty, people don't really want to sin. Like, everybody wants, you want to do good, you want to please God. And then when you are, because your own scriptures have said, haven't I said that ye are all gods? So when ye are all gods and you create, hey, that's your spark of life. When you regenerate and you keep giving it back to yourself as the whore that you are talking about, as you F yourself, the whore, the system, female system, male and female system, the Philadelphia Art Museum landscape. It's an AI additive. You're taking Statue of Liberty, has this in its hand, and when you turn it upside down, it just goes straight up inside of you, and then there's some kind of mechanism there that harvests the spark of life. It's staying inside of you. It's come out of her, my people. Yeah, come out of her, my people. Like, go to the highest mountains for a period of time. But it's truly, the meaning is, come out of her, my people. Like, get out of the spiritual realm, the prison that you're in. Get out of it. Stop thinking that way. Get out. Doesn't have anything to do with fleeing anywhere. Does not have anything to do with actual coming out of her, my people. But it does in their interpretation, so you got to understand it. You have to understand what it doesn't matter if you believe that's what it truly means or not. What is the world doing? The ones that run this planet, here in Philadelphia, what is it that all that's about? It's everything. It's about all this. They'd rather have life birthed into this world to either eat it as a baby when it's fully born, or do whatever sexual acts and whatever it is that the perverted mind does, the spirit, instead of just, as they would say, abort it. So this is what the abortion is to them. But yet, when the baby is fully born, they're more perfectly okay with the baby being aborted after it's fully developed. That's why the abortion law, the rule or whatever it is, was passed. Or is it still that after once the baby is actually born with the heartbeat and everything, then you can abort it. As soon as it comes at birth, you can kill a baby. But the same people out of the same side of their mouth will tell you, do not touch it. It's the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. This is the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. As far as I know, you have two options when it comes to your tree of life that they're trying to get you to do. You either get rid of it completely. Well, maybe there's a couple options, but you either get rid of it completely, you become a straight male to female. You get the implants, you look like a female, and that's how you live out the rest of your life. You just receive only. And then there's the getting converted, inverted, going up, and then effing yourself. AI device attachment, however that is, I don't know, but it's something that works. It's separated, it's placed into a compartment, it eventually gets back to working again, two become one. You still have the spark inside of you, but nobody knows. So even as a eunuch, when you get snipped, you cut the Bluetooth line. Do you really cut them, or do you just put them up? You just put them up. That way it's concealed and nobody knows that that's what you can still do. And then, but you pretend that you don't. But wouldn't your king already know that because he has surveillance on you? Not one stone will be left upon another. There's not anything that won't be revealed that's concealed. I mean, towards the end here, more information is coming out because that's what the Father does. Like, it's a spirit. You tap into it. You get information. You let it just filter through and digest. So when I go to bed at night, all the information I get in that day, there's like a filtration system. It all flows through, and whatever connects to it's like self-leveling. If you lay down a floor and you pour the concrete at self-level, it'll just fall into the crevices where it needs to and just patch it nice, and it's smooth and it's completely level. And then you wake up next day, information, same thing. Get the information, let it resonate throughout the day, go to sleep, lay down at night, it all filters through again. Figuring out who is really behind the scenes and who's really going to stand up, who the two witnesses actually are, who the other two witnesses aren't, who's going to be coming, who's going to be looking for you, which two to look for, that kind of thing. Where is this whole thing heading? If nobody does anything, the world goes to shit. But when the two witnesses are getting ready to stand upon their feet and the breath of life enters back into them, and great fear falls upon them which saw them, and then they get power for 1260 days, it's